Good morning. Hello to Runway DFW members for a members-only stream, at least in the live version. We'll be replaying this next week for the rest of our Runway DFW audience. But good morning from Grand Cayman. We'll be doing an official introduction in just a second, but I did want to get to this de Havilland Canada B200, a 28-year-old plane belonging to, it says here, the U.S. Air Force. It's hiding behind a tree here, but we'll get to see it taking off here. It does not list its destination point. And after this takes off, we'll do a little more formal opening for you. But we're live, coming to you from the island of Grand Cayman. Specifically, Georgetown is the name of the community we're in, the capital of Cayman Islands. And because of our sight lines, that's pretty much all we're going to see today. I had a little problem as we were panning around there. My camera has a very heavy cord on it, or my phone does anyway. So anyway, let's get started officially here at Runway DFW.
Broadcasting live around the world from Owen Roberts International Airport in the Cayman Islands. This is Runway DFW in colour.
And good morning. Hello, everyone. We are coming to you courtesy of our friends at the, is this going to work? At the Glow Luxury Salon. Look at this. We've got a perch overlooking Owen Roberts Airport. They've been kind enough to let us park ourselves here on the patio again, and that gives us a commanding view of Owen Roberts International Airport, one runway at all times. And so welcome. Well, here's the situation. We don't have a lot of traffic at this airport at any given time. We've come to you at the time when it appears that we're going to have the most traffic, but let me see what we've got coming in next here. So as far as inbound flights, let's see, it's 10 o'clock right now. Our next incoming arrival, that's kind of a redundant saying, incoming arrival, is Cayman Airways Express from Cayman Airways from Montego Bay. It'll be a MAX 8. And that will be followed shortly thereafter by a FedEx ATR 72. Those are interesting planes to see. We don't see those at DFW Airport. That will be arriving from Miami. And then it's going to be a while before we see a couple of American Airlines and WestJet planes coming in. As far as departures go, it's also pretty light. We don't see our first departure until 11:30. So I don't know. We're going to do a lot of gabbing here today. Here's Raina Taylor. Hello. Excuse me. Raina. We are happy to see you here today. Rohit Parkal. We're on vacation, yes, with Mrs. Runway DFW. And we're presenting this especially for our channel members like you. Heathrow Joe saying hello. Joelle, good morning. Walt, good morning, fellow Runway DFWers. H. Dot says good morning or afternoon, everyone. Texas Girl says, how's the weather? Well, you know, I have a have a little bug here we can pop in to display the weather. In the upper left-hand corner, it should appear here shortly. And there it is. So it's 88 degrees Fahrenheit, 31 degrees Celsius. Wind very gentle out of the northeast at 3 miles an hour. A gentle tropical breeze. Visibility 6 miles, so a few puffy clouds up there. No rain. There was some rain on Saturday morning before we got here, but it's been, but we haven't seen any since. Well, we had a little bit yesterday, just a sprinkle. And it feels like 110 degrees with the humidity. Yeah, the humidity is right up there. So what you're looking at there in that picture is the terminal building of the Owen Roberts Airport, along with a couple of Cayman Airways MAX 8s. That's the only jet airplane that Cayman operates, but they do have some propeller planes, which we shall see as we go through the morning time. So we're going to be taking a look around, before the airplanes start to come and go. We look now across the way, and those structures there are big cranes which lift cargo off the ships and then onto trucks to take them to stores and shops and to people who have purchased things. I don't see any activity over there right now. We also get cruise ships here. Sometimes we can see the top deck of the cruise ship in harbor, and I'm not sure if we're getting any today. There was one yesterday here. Flying over us now, I can't see it, a FedEx 767 on its way from Quito in Ecuador to Miami. But that's up there at 36,000 feet, so I don't know how much of that we're going to be able to see. So here's me. We've got our little setup here with 3 cameras, so that's, it's okay. So we hope to make it at least interesting for you while we muddle through our shortcoming of aircraft at the moment. But we'll talk with you, and if you have any questions about Cayman that can be answered, I'd be happy to take a stab at it. And a Texas girl notes that she's been here by cruise ship before. We've never been on a cruise, Mrs. Runway DFW and I. We've only flown around or driven. And we got here on Saturday on AmericanAirlines. I've got some B-roll for that, which we can throw in here, because why not? Well, first of all, I should place us on the map. Here's where the Cayman Islands are. They're south of Cuba, east of the Yucatan Peninsula, west of Haiti and the Dominican Republic. And that again is where we are right now. That's not what I wanted to show you. I'm going to go back to the map. I'm going to go here and take that weather out so you can see what the date is. And then we'll go to our arrival here. This was on Saturday. And I do have to say, we had a bit of a jouncy landing. Everything was fine, but as you'll be able to see here in a second, it was a little rocky as we touched down on airport grounds. And actually, in a second here, you'll see where we are right now. The Glow Luxury Salon. We'll be able to see that out the window after either before we touch down or after. I'll point it out to you, and it coming up. There's the rough landing. Yikes. So everybody getting off the plane. It was a packed flight. It's only a once a week flight from a non-stop from Dallas to Cayman Islands. We were on a 25-year-old 737-800. And this day looks not unlike Saturday as far as clouds go. There's a JetBlue plane parked there. I don't think we'll see one today. This one was called Blue Suede Shoes, as I recall. Yes. Don't see too many JetBlues at DFW Airport. So we're doing a little travelogue here, and here's a look at 7 Mile Beach, which is where it's very nice to hang out. It's a really nice respite from on the go all the time. Great snorkeling, great swimming, nice, beautiful sunsets, and so I think we have one more shot here coming up, and that's Camana Bay, which is kind of a very new area where they've built it up. So that's a kind of a look around the Cayman Islands. Now, Heathrow Joe says, Walt, did you see my milestone? And here's the thing. I'm operating under I don't have my usual setup here. I usually have a separate computer where I can watch all the messages come in and see the milestones. I don't have that here. I've just got one screen that controls everything, and sometimes I have to switch away from this screen to see something else. So I haven't seen your milestone, and in fact, on this setup that I've got right here, for whatever reason, it doesn't display them, Heathrow Joe. So I apologize for that. And no, Texas girl, I am not. I'm not going to get my feet done. Raina, there's no need to apologize. I think I hope that everybody can understand that sometimes when you've got just one person running things, you can't see everything that you would like to be able to see. So now we've got go over to the back to the cargo area. We see that crane, that red lifting device there. It's raised up in the last couple minutes. It's probably getting ready to clamp down on something and either put it on a ship or take it off a ship. How long is the flight from DFW? It's just about 3 hours on the dot. Now you can, and again, American Airlines only operates weekly on Saturdays from DFW, though you can get here on American Airlines every other day of the week if you go through Charlotte or Miami. Miami, not a top option. We've been through there before. And Uncle David says, so Dallas wasn't hot enough for you, was it? Well, you know, you can dunk yourself in the water. There's great snorkeling here. The nice thing is, it's the whole thing is moving, isn't it? Where's it going? Or is that maybe that's a ship? Is that a ship? I thought that was a fixed thing. Looks like it's sailing away, doesn't it? Shows you how much I know about the maritime life. But at any rate, for the snorkeling, you know, there's a lot of places you can go. You can get on a boat and they'll dump you off somewhere where it's good snorkeling. Here, you can just wade into the water. You don't have to have a boat, and you can just have at it. And it's really nice. You can just hop out and dive in. I don't really dive in. I just stay on the surface. But lots of interesting fish to see. Mrs. Runway DFW saw a lobster yesterday. I haven't seen any turtles yet, although there were some turtles. There was a conservation a national conservation truck on the beach when we got home from dinner the other night, and they had just deposited some baby turtles into the sea. Cayman is pretty much known for its turtles. They have a turtle farm here, actually, on the west side of the island. There's our moderator, Michael Flannery. Hello, Michael. Texas Girl, here's the thing. I apologize. I don't see any... I can't see any super chats in our current setup for some reason, and I apologize for that. Let me see if I can open up a window. The other thing is, we don't have a lot of bandwidth here as far as being able to download and upload things, and it takes a lot of muscle to... It takes a lot of data in order to stream you this broadcast, so I'm trying to... Let's see here. No, that's not what I wanted. I'm trying not to take us off the air is what I'm trying not to do. Okay, let me see here. Will this work? That's not working. Okay, so I'm going to have to acknowledge everything by voice, I think, because I don't have the ability. Oh, there's my voice. You need to do that? Okay. All right, so let me look back here. Okay, so let me acknowledge, first of all, Hans Olav Mork, who's celebrating 22 months of membership. And Hans likes Frontier Airlines. You're not going to see any Frontier Airlines here today. Texas Girl with a $10 super chat. Good morning. This is my first members only live stream. Well, we don't do very many of those, Texas Girl. So there you go. So those are all the... Let's see. Make sure I didn't miss anything here. I'll try to keep track. I only have one screen to look at your messages and to keep track of our map here. I see an interesting airplane, which is taxiing. I have no idea what it is, but let's see if we can figure it out together. Actually, we have when we look at this for a second, wow. That looks like some kind of a crop duster, doesn't it? It's got all those nozzles on the back. But coming in now is a Dassault Falcon 2000 private jet. The origination point is unspecified. So we'll get back to aviation action here on Runway DFW. Thank you for watching this stream. I see Gerard. Here's Gerard is one of our channel members and moderators. Good to see you, Gerard. This is a time which is a little more appropriate for you to be able to watch. And Houston, Texas says that's a working plane. That sure is. So anyway, we're gonna, let's see, how far away is this plane? This plane's about to come in, so we're gonna swing around here, our main camera, and we'll pick this plane, this aircraft, this Dassault Falcon 2000 up as it comes in. I see it now. I can see it, but you can't because of stuff. So it goes all the way down to the end of the runway where you can see the water there. That's it's a bay on the north side of I think they call it North Bay. It'll make a U-turn and come back this way. Well, actually it's called Grand Sound on the map, and in fact that's the piece of Cayman Islands are kind of famous for Stingray Bay, which is in that body of water there, where you can get on a boat and take it out, and they'll take you to see stingrays. You get out, you can pet them and whatever. So now I don't know. Here's this aircraft which I don't see identified yet on the radar, and I don't know if we will or not. See if we see any identification on it. That's an odd-shaped cockpit, isn't it? Well, if anybody knows what this plane is, let me know. I don't see it on the radar yet. Now, I do know they have a mosquito issue here, as they do in a lot of tropical nations, and so perhaps... Well, there's the registration number, VPCKF. I am not in a position to look that up right now. I'm just going to make a short, not going all the way to the end of the runway to take off. Wow, look at that thing. That was crazy. Well, oops, I don't see that every day. That's all we're going to see of that. There is some agriculture here on the island. Not enough to sustain. If you go to the grocery store here at in the Cayman Islands, you will see all manner of groceries from literally all over the world. Because of its association with the UK, you see a lot of British products in the stores. You see a lot of American products. You see a lot of Central American and South American and also other Caribbean products. Another plane coming in now. I think this is the plane that landed earlier, that Dassault Falcon, but it had to wait at the end of the runway for what we're going to call that crop duster to take off, because there's only one runway here, and I guess that's also the taxiway as well. There again are several of the Cayman Airways aircraft, a MAX 8 and some prop jets, and there's a couple other MAX 8s. So for being such a small island, Cayman Airways has a pretty sizable fleet of modern jets and older propeller planes. And here is the control tower. Heathrow Joe, do you know Cayman get British Airways Flight 253? Yes, they have a 777 that comes in. It'll come in later this afternoon. Unfortunately, our viewing position, it's very hot here, as you might guess. Our viewing position is shaded in the morning, but not so much in the afternoon. And I think it would be a little too brutal for us to try to catch that. It's unfortunate because it's fun to see it. And we did see the British Airways 777 on our first experience with you here at Owen Roberts Airport. In fact, we've been here now 3 times. This is our 3rd time. The first time we were over here at the terminal in an official position. You see where those trees are on the terminal building there. Well, we were on the patio there looking the other way, so we were there in the afternoon and we got a pretty good view of the British Airways 777 as it came in. The British Airways flight comes in from London via Jamaica. It stops in Jamaica, stops here, and I think it stops again going back to Jamaica. Vince, Las Vegas. Hello, Vince. Channel member. Well, everybody's a channel member here today. Planes and palm trees looks like a great spot. It is. You know, we would wish for there to be more aviation action, but yeah, it is what it is. Texas girl, is it hotter than DFW? I'm sure you don't have a breeze where you are standing. Well, I think, let's see, let's check the weather again. We can put that in. So it's only 90 degrees, 32 degrees Celsius. Almost no wind, but it's a very dense, as you might expect in a place that's by the sea, it's a very dense humidity here. But it's not oppressive, at least not where I am, because I am standing in the shade. It says it feels like 118 degrees. Is that possible? I don't know. Well, that's the weather there in the upper left-hand corner. We'll pop that in every now and again. Let's check your messages again. So Uncle David was saying, I believe he's referring to that prop duster. That looks really underpowered. Well, it is what it, you know, it does. It looks like it's been doing that job for a long time, based upon the looks of the thing. The Texas girl says you can probably get fresh fruit from the trees there on the island. You go to the supermarket, there's just not a lot of produce. There's a lot of land in the internal part of the island. And it's pretty much all undeveloped, but I don't know how much arable land there is. This land is kind of built on, a lot of the shoreline is called iron shore. It's just a very rocky, gritty, not very not very friendly to bathers' shoreline, but there are sandy shores also on a great part of the island. Now I do see, I think I see the smokestacks of a cruise ship. Now we can't see it from here. Actually, we can see some of the superstructure of the cruise ship as well. There it is. It's kind of hidden by buildings in downtown Georgetown. Oh, it looks like a Disney ship. I see a mouse ears on there. So I don't know. I'm not a cruise ship maven. I don't know a lot about cruise ships, but guess we got ourselves a Mickey Mouse ship in harbor. We'll keep track of incoming flights. Okay, we've got a FedEx feeder operated by Gulf and Caribbean Cargo, or Caribbean Cargo. It's an ATR 72-600 freighter. It's going to be here in about 10 minutes, so set your clocks for that. In fact, it's a relatively new plane. It's only 2 years old. So it's a 2-engine, propeller-driven aircraft, so got plenty of time to get ready for that. Once again, coming in from Miami. Go back to the airport. They're always building stuff here. We saw that other crane associated with a cargo operation before, but there's lots of other cranes here, always building things. Mrs. Runway DFW and I started coming here to the Cayman Islands in the last century, and we've seen a lot of change over the course of those years. Not all for the better, I guess. You know, development is natural, but here's BW, who's been providing us with call-outs. I don't think there's a lot to do here today, BW, but thank you for checking in. Nigel Coxon says hello. Hello, Nigel. Samantha, enjoying the members-only stream. Thanks for doing this. Cool to see activity or no activity at a smaller airport. O'Malley says, good morning, Grand Cayman. Heathrow Joe wants to know, is it near the Bahamas where we are? We did have a map here which kind of illustrates where we are located. That's the route map from Dallas, but if you can look in the lower right-hand corner of your screen, you see we're south of Cuba, almost due south of Miami, by way of Cuba, to the east of the Yucatan Peninsula in New Mexico. So that is our location. Raina Taylor's got to say so long for now. Raina, we're glad you could stop by. And I'm not uncomfortable at all. I'm always happy to see you, Raina. And Raina, we are having fun. We went to see a movie last night. And I can't remember if we've ever seen a movie in the Cayman Islands before. I'm even reluctant to say what it was because it wasn't a very good movie, at least in our view. It was called Weapons. It's kind of like one of these thriller, horror movies. And And we went to a 9:45 p.m. showing on a Monday night, and we were the only ones there. And it was a pretty big auditorium, too. So we had our own private showing. If only it had been a better movie. Tom Bechtel is saying hello to us. Hello to you. And Texas Girl, did I see the... Yeah, we did. There's at least one in the harbor. You know, I found out last time we were here that there's an app, maybe more than one, which is similar to Flight Radar 24, but for cruise ships. Or maybe all ships, I don't know, but at least cruise ships. And I had no idea, although I guess I should have suspected that would be the case. There's Mary Extraordinaire. Hello, Mary. Will we have I don't know if we'll have a chat extravaganza today. Because there's just this one camera. Well, we have 3 cameras, but this one is the one that shows what's going on over here, and it's not wide enough to really show everything. And if you're wondering what it is I'm wearing here, this is the fashion segment of Runway DFW. I have, in case it gets sunny here, I have a hood on this kind of lightweight thing to keep me. Isn't that lovely? But I use this when I'm swimming, so I don't have to worry about my head getting sunburned. Does that make sense? I see Gil Naveau is in the house with us, saying hello to Mary. And he's saying, have a good time for me too. We will do the best we can. All right, the FedEx feeder is now 3 minutes away. This is so different from DFW Airport, where it's like a ping pong match where you're swinging back and forth, getting ready for the next plane. Missing planes that are taking off as others are landing on one side of the airport or the other. This is just a different world here. So we'll do the best we can whilst we are here. Gil says, looks like you'd be hot. Well, I'd rather be a little warmish than to, as you might expect, get a lobster tan. So I don't really mind it. If you're just joining us, we are coming to you live. It's Runway DFW At Large, coming to you live from the Cayman Islands, Georgetown in Grand Cayman, to be specific. And this is going to be one of the more laid-back episodes of our broadcast that you will encounter. And the reason is that there's just not a lot happening. So we're making do as best we can. There is the terminal area as we await the arrival of the FedEx feeder, an ATR 72-600 freighter coming in from Miami. And it's going to be here just about on time, about 4 minutes late according to the schedule. Going over us just about now. I wish I could show it to you. It's at 36,000 feet. A 737-800 going from Balboa in Panama to Havana on an airline called Wingo, W-I-N-G-O. I never even heard of that airline before. It's going right over us now. I'm looking up to see if there's any possible way to show you a Wingo plane going up there, but I don't think there is. Gerard says that truck would be a nice one for their collection. Actually, I think we have a link to where you can get that truck on, at least on US Amazon. But it doesn't have the Runway DFW insignia on it. It's just a toy yellow truck. Well, it's a satellite truck, which was, you know, but has other markings on it, which we kind of superimposed our own identification. Phil G, greetings all from Berkeley, California. Great to see you in the Cayman Islands. Yeah, a little look at, you know, here when we were here last time, we were here in the spring, I think it was April, and it was a little busier, I must say. This is, the summer is not the high season here, you know, because most people want to come here when it's cold in the US and Canada. So it's kind of laid back. In fact, in August, a lot of businesses closed down for a week or two or even a month. And that, again, is not uncommon to tropical climes. So it's a nice, but as you can hear in the foreground, we are just astride a rather busy road. It's just a two-lane road, but it's filled with vehicles going back and forth. Guess we can pull out a little bit and show you what all the commotion is. Oh, of course, now I pull out and there's no traffic whatsoever. But that's the rumble you hear in the background. Lots of trucks and cars and whatnot. Well, I've been promising you this. We've got two planes coming in, actually. We've got this FedEx feeder plane, and we've also got Cayman Airways. Is that right? No, it's another cargo plane. Convair CV5800. Oh, wow. So we will see some interesting planes. Okay, now I do see the FedEx plane in sight. Can we? I think our camera angle is just too, you know, that pillar is in the way. I can see it if I lean my head back. So that Convair plane that's coming in, oh wow, it's 69 years old, 1956 vintage Convair CV5800, operated by Gulf and Caribbean Cargo. Wow. I know you see a lot of this kind of stuff in Miami, you know, on a more frequent basis, but kind of cool to see it here. All right, here finally comes the FedEx plane of which we spoke. And that again is just a 2-year-old plane. Now we talk about cargo, of course, on an island. We showed you the port activity where the bulk of things come in, but of course perishable goods and on-demand stuff got to come in by airplane. So I think this plane is going to have to park over here, I think, while it waits for the arrival of that Convair cargo. I'm not sure. Maybe there is a taxiway it can go on. As we said, there's only one runway here. Oh, there's BW. He's on the mark with that FedEx feeder information. Thank you to you. Okay, so we're about just a minute away from the this other plane of which we spoke. I wish we could see it coming in. Maybe it will veer off to the left or to the right a little bit to let us see. Yeah, Ronald Smith, we're about to see something kind of special here. And yeah, we cannot see it from this viewpoint. So we'll just have to watch here. It's a twin prop Convair CV 5800. Where do you get parts for something like that? Anna, the dispatcher, is checking in. Hello, Anna. Happy to have you with us here this morning. One of our mods, QuadJet channel member. I bet this is going to have an interesting sound, too. I hope there's not too much traffic rumble in the foreground to drown it out. Imagine what the cockpit of that thing must be like. So we can't follow it along there because we've got a pillar in our way, but it'll make a turn here and we'll get to see it head on for a bit. That took an hour and a half to get here from Miami. Things are starting to pick up. We've got American Airlines Flight 301 coming in from Charlotte in just moments from now. That'll be a 737-800. So yeah, I guess the planes do have to kind of park in a little turnoff there to make room for the next plane coming in before using the runway as a taxiway. So let's see, we've been here for what, 45 minutes. We started out with a U.S. Navy plane. Can't even remember what that one was, but some interesting aircraft here this morning for you on a special edition of Runway DFW At Large. It's an interesting design, isn't it? Kind of makes all the waiting worthwhile, doesn't it? And how do you find a pilot who knows how to operate a plane like this? How do you learn how to... I guess you have to learn from somebody who already knows how to fly it. I mean, they don't have trainers for Convair's, do they? The IFL Plus group. So these cargo planes hanging out right next to one another over there on the other side of the runway. We're about a minute away now from the arrival of the American Airlines 737. Ronald Smith imagined the 50s and 60s when airports like New York Idlewild had a variety of Convairs loading and unloading passengers. Yeah, I think Braniff had those back in the day, probably American Airlines, or planes similar to that, certainly. Texas Girl says we have 48 likes. Well, of course, this stream is restricted currently to our members, so I guess it's kind of implied that you like what we do. And you know, the universe of our viewership this morning for this original live broadcast is not going to be very big because we only have about 400 members and they can't all watch at the same time, so I'm happy to see as many of you here as you can, as is possible. O'Malley with a textual representation of a twin-engine aircraft. Very good, O'Malley. Katie Goodling saying, love this. Have a great vacation. We're having a very good vacation. I appreciate that. Thank you. Okay, I see the American plane now in our sights. Actually, we can kind of see it just barely. Well, I'm going to lose it before. There it is. It's kind of coming into and out of fuzzy focus. Not very good. We'll just pick it up as it lands here. American Airlines 737-800. Arriving from Charlotte, it's flight 301. A 2-hour and 17-minute flight will be landing here. 12-year-old plane. Can I tell you anything else? I guess the nice thing about this is the novelty. Let's see if we got anybody else coming in behind this. We've got American Flight 1300 from Miami. That'll be an Airbus A319 It is still about 12 minutes out. I believe American operates at least a couple, maybe 3 daily flights here. If you're just joining us, welcome. We are coming to you live from Grand Cayman. We are at specifically Owen Roberts International Airport. We are coming to you from up here, from the Glow Luxury Nail and Spa Salon, and they're kind enough to let us use their balcony here to bring you this view. And no, that wasn't a live shot. I went across the street yesterday to get that shot when I came over to ask for their permission to do this broadcast, and they're very, very, very kind, very, very welcoming, and I thank the Glow Salon for that. Brian Henry says, is Speedbird the last flight of the day there? I don't believe it is. I think there's 1 or 2 others. Cayman Airways has a number of its flights. You know, they have some regional flights to the other islands. There's 2 other Cayman Islands here. We are on Grand Cayman. There's also Little Cayman and Cayman Brac, and those are about 90 miles to the east of here. I don't believe there's any ferries that go that far. It's kind of a far ferry trip, so Cayman Airways operates small propeller planes into and out of those destinations. Hello, Robert Brun. Good to see you here. Vince, Las Vegas has nice subtle detail of the livery at the ends of the props. You know, I can't really... It's hard for me to see on my teeny tiny screen here, but I'm sure it can be appreciated more on a large screen. The other thing is... Well, one other thing is... we're broadcasting in 1080... I'm sorry, in 720p. Now, that doesn't mean a lot to some people, but we're not at the full resolution that we normally are. It's still HD, at least as far as I'm concerned, but we are recording this in 1080p, and when we put the replay on next week, I'm planning for this to go out to our regular audience on Tuesday of next week at about the same time. That will be a 1080p recording of this extravaganza. There, once again, the main terminal at the passenger terminal here at Owen Roberts International Airport. Let me get a little sip of water here. Pardon me. There, over there is a traffic circle or a roundabout, which kind of freaks out Mrs. Runway DFW. She lets me do the driving here. Once you get used to them, it's a fairly efficient way to get traffic moving without traffic lights. In fact, I think coming over here, which is about a 30-minute drive, I only encounter 1, maybe 2. No, I think just 1 traffic light. Everything else is a roundabout. And as far as cars go, I don't know if you can tell from that picture, but it is right-hand driving here, so it's the British mode of driving, with driving on the right. It's the same as in Japan as well. And we rented a right-hand drive car, and that's always interesting to get used to. But you see such a mix of vehicles. You see American pickup trucks and American sedans, but mostly Japanese, mostly small Japanese cars and Korean cars. But there's an increasing number of Chinese vehicles here, which I hadn't seen in the past. American Flight 1300 from Miami is now 4 minutes away. Again, that's an Airbus A319. A turn of the century Airbus A319. Texas Girl says Cayman Airways in 24 minutes. Robert Brun says roundabouts very common in Europe. Yeah, they haven't really caught on too much in the U.S. in most places. There are a few in Texas, in my neck of the woods. Robert Brun says roundabouts are very common. Oh, here we go. Anna the Dispatcher, Carmel, Indiana is full of roundabouts. Carmel is a Indianapolis suburb. There's a few trains coming at us from the UK. Hello, a few trains so happy to see you here today. O'Malley's got to check out because the boss man calls, so we'll see you soon, O'Malley. Thanks for stopping by. Ronald Smith says the only thing I dislike about roundabouts is that if there's a frequent occurrence of them, that they make me a little motion sick. Well, the highway, well, I don't know if you call it a highway, but it's a 4-lane road which kind of is inland from the beach. It's kind of a relief route, and it's filled with a roundabout about every, seems like less than a mile, every 3/4 of a mile or so. And the speed limit is 40 miles an hour, and there are a lot of cars that go faster than that. I'm going like 35, trying to navigate my way, and then you've got to, even if you can get up to 40, you've got to slow right down to go around the roundabout, because they're designed not to be able to go fast through them because of the design of them. William Quigley says good morning. Good morning to William. And once again, if you're just joining us, well, I guess we should identify ourselves here, shall we?
From the Cayman Islands, it's Runway DFW.
And it is Runway DFW at Large, coming to you from the beautiful Cayman Islands, Georgetown in Grand Cayman. And we are at Owen Roberts International Airport in Georgetown. And we welcome you if you're just joining us. Welcome to our channel members on this special broadcast. We are about to see American Flight 1300 coming in from Miami, an Airbus A319. Not too terribly much going on here. We've only seen 2 planes take off and maybe 3 landing in the course of an hour, and it's going to pick up a little bit here, I think, with some more American. We've got this one more American Airlines plane coming in, and then a lot of Cayman Airways planes. We should see a WestJet also arriving from, I believe it is Toronto. Francis has just dropped in to give a like. I have to go to bed 2 a.m. where you are. Francis, thank you so much for your like and for checking in and for your membership here at Runway DFW. Rich Carlisle in Indiana. We're just talking about Indiana. Have a great time there. Thank you, Rich. A few trains out. I remember cycling around some of the busiest roundabouts in Birmingham city center. I try now not to think about it. It must have been mad. That does seem like a suicidal thing to do. Yeah, bicycles. I haven't seen they do have some bicycle, set-asides here on the sides of the roads, on some of the roads. Not the one in front of me right now, but on that road I was talking about with all the roundabouts. But I don't know if I'd dare journey on that thing with a bicycle. Okay, I see the American Airlines plane now. I think we can get a tiny bit of a look at it here before it goes behind a shrubbery. But I can't see it. Oh, here it is. So it looks like our camera's going to focus on the palm trees instead of the plane, but it's a little kind of a look at it there. And I will check in with the temperature again in just a second, so thank you for that question. And watch this plane go out of our view because there's a post here on the patio, and we'll switch over to our wide angle shot to get you that. But hello to everybody out there. Here we are in paradise, watching the planes come and go for a little bit. So once again, this is the American Airlines plane from Miami, Airbus A319, flight 1300, blah, blah, blah. Don't go too much further or else you'll wind up in the bay. The runway here is 7,800 feet long, 2,400 meters. So it's not a terribly long runway, although, as we mentioned before, British Airways does bring a 777 here at least several times a week, which I believe is the biggest airplane to currently utilize this facility. So we're going to talk about the temperature here. Anna had asked about that. Let's pop that in. It'll be in the upper left-hand corner of your screen. So let's see, at 90 degrees Fahrenheit, 32 Celsius, wind at 4 miles an hour. It's picked up a little bit since earlier. 6 miles visibility. It looks like more than that to my eye. No precipitation. And I think we're going to get the feels like temperature here. Yeah, 109 Fahrenheit, 43 Celsius. So a little toasty. But of course, you can always take a dip. Not here, of course, but not too far from where we are. We have a Cayman. Oh, here's that crop duster again. That didn't appear on the radar, that's why we didn't see it. And again, I'm guessing that's a crop duster. I am not in a position to look up the registration number on this. I don't know. We called it out earlier. But if somebody has that ability, as the plane makes a turn here, we'll get that number for you. I think. What an interesting looking plane. VP I can't make it out. CKF? VP CKF. If somebody in our audience can look that up and get us even what, at least what it is. We saw this plane taking off, it seems like only about 20 minutes ago, maybe 30. There's that Convair in the background. Guess it's going to hide away from us there. Right, so next on the radar, flight 2621, Cayman Airways from Montego Bay, man. So it's just a short hop from Montego Bay in Jamaica. It left 36 minutes ago. This is going to be a MAX 8, be here in 4 minutes. A 5-year-old MAX 8. So we go from some pretty old planes to some pretty new ones. So a few trains out says the that crop duster-like plane owned by the Cayman Islands government, apparently. Ronald Smith says not registered per Flight Radar 24. And so, yeah, I guess it could have a myriad of usages. Now, I know they do have a mosquito problem here, as my legs and arms can attest. So they might be doing some mosquito spraying in aerial way, but I thought that kind of stuff usually took place at night, but maybe not. Let's get the windsock report, shall we? There it is. As you can see, very gentle breeze. Michael Flannery, a channel member, of course, everybody's a channel member here today, and moderator, says, looks like an air tractor made in Olney, Texas. Wow, the Texas connection. Cool. An air tractor. That sounds about right looking at it. It looks like an air tractor. Brent Baker says, probably mosquito. I think they have 2 planes for that. We went to Grand Cayman one time when both were inoperable. Lots of mosquitoes then. So we have the Cayman Airways plane now on approach, final approach. Is it really? There it is, yeah. Robert Burns says that was an ag cat. An ag cat. Brian Henry, will you be doing a terminal stream like last time? Well, our first time we did a terminal stream. The problem with that was, well, it wasn't a problem. Well, it was a problem. Well, it's a little bureaucratic. A lot more bureaucratic than this. We made arrangements with the Cayman Islands Airport Authority. They're very nice. We had to fork over to them $200 in exchange for a permit to broadcast from there. And we did it once, and it was nice, and they were very nice. They, because of our location, they had to give us a guard. So I don't want to take up too much of his time. So I'm not ruling it out in the future, but our friends here at the Glow Luxury Salon are so nice that it's just a nice place to come. It's shady here in the morning. It's just a nice overlook. Now, yes, we don't get the kind of terminal views that we would get from being right there, but that also had some obstructions associated with it. So, yeah. There's the call out of that plane. Thank you to BW. Ron Sees America says hello. I saw a Runway DFW clip on 3 Minutes of Aviation. Awesome. Yeah, we did give them permission to use our clip of the, I don't want to say wrong. I think it was a Cargo Lux, was it not? Cargo Lux 747, which had a bit of a rocky landing. Well, it touched down, and then it wasn't stable as it was landing, let's put it that way, and so it took off again and went around. But I had never seen a touch and go 747 landing, so, and they saw it and they thought, well, we'd like to share it with our viewers. Texas Girl loves the beautiful tails on Cayman. They do have some pretty nice tail art. A Few Trains At says, I see the Disney Treasure is moored off of Grand Cayman. We did look at that earlier, and I guess we can take another look at it again once we are in a lull, and as it appears we are currently, as far as incoming flights. Looks like there's an air corridor right over us going to Miami. I see an American Airlines from Lima, a Copa Airlines from Panama City. Well, it's going to Atlanta. From Guayaquil in that, I can't remember where that is. Going to Miami, American Airlines. And then another Copa Airlines from Panama City to Orlando. But they're all flying in a pretty much assigned corridor right over the Cayman Islands before they overfly Cuba, which is always interesting to see if it's a clear day, to look out the window and see what's going on in Cuba. So let's see if we can pick up on that cruise ship again. We don't have a clear shot of the ship, but we can see the upper portion of it. See the mouse ears in the rear deck. And so I'm guessing the passengers have the ability to get off and see what's to be seen here in the Cayman Islands. Ron says, yes, it was a cargo lux bouncing and going around. Thank you, and Texas Girl also coming up with that. Let's say we're in a bit of a lull here as far as planes coming in here. Although, actually, the FedEx freighter that we saw earlier has got its radar turned on. It's headed to Kingston, Jamaica. So this thing's going to be firing up pretty soon. And Brian Henry says Sunwing is operating for the WestJet flight there today, Walt. So that's, well, that'll be something I've never seen. And I believe that's coming in the next hour or 90 minutes. But anyway, since we've got a little bit of a downtime here, I think that it's time to salute our members. So yes, now I know it's only members watching now, at least the live stream, but I do like to say thank you to each of you because you make things like this happen. So thank you so much to our Runway DFW members. Our list, as always, starts out with our great sponsor, James Webb, the official sponsor of Runway DFW. Thank you so much, James, for all you do for us. And now we will display the names of the QuadJet members, which we acquired, we found in a treasure chest under a palm tree at 8 a.m. this morning here on Grand Cayman. Our QuadJet channel members include 757 Chip, Airplanes FRA, Alan J, Alaska Plane Spotter, Angela Smith, Anna the Dispatcher, Beaker and Honeydew, Bev A, Brian D, Chuck TXK, Cloudy Sayers, Cubs Win, Darren Cirillo, David Rutherford, Dronoki, Dwayne C, Hagler 17, HD Kraut, James Webb, John Lipman, Josh Aldrich, Kai, Kirby Brooks Sr., KS Avgeek, Lello, Lori M, Michael Flannery, Michael Schwarzkopf, Michelle RS, Mike G, Only Planes Network, Patrick Wooters, Paul 1188, Pete Nordine, Payathon, Raina Taylor, S35 Bonanza Pilot, Sarah Deal, Skittles, Steve Lundaby, Texas Girl, The Grinch, TNT Oh My, Tyson Price, and Will Hutchison. Those are our QuadJet channel members. And now everyone else, a member of our 400 or so strong membership list, those names will appear before you. And I thank each of you for being a member of Runway DFW. I'm going to get a sip of water. So in case you're wondering, how do you get a signal from the Cayman Islands to the internet? Well, in our case, I'm using my, where'd it go? In our case, I'm using my phone as a hotspot, and that's connected to the local, one of the local carriers here called Flow. But that's through T-Mobile, which I purchased a package of data through T-Mobile, 15 gigabytes, which hopefully will get us through this stream. So once again, this ATR 72-600 a 2-year-old plane going to Kingston, Jamaica. It's a 314-mile trip. So it'll be coming past us, going, you know, as we look at it. It'll be making a U-turn here and going camera left to the end of the runway. The single runway here at Owen Roberts International Airport. There's the tower. Not one of your taller traffic control towers, but I guess they can see what they need to see from up there. Making a noise. Also lighting up on the radar now, a Cayman Airways MAX 8 being headed out to Miami. A few trains out says the quality is absolutely brilliant. Well, thank you. I just hope our data lasts through as long as we need it to last. But technically we haven't dropped any frames, which is always a good sign. Sean Bramlett says, I see they have a Chevrolet dealership there. You know, there's so many different, I mean, if you enjoy looking at cars, this is a great place to come to just look at cars you don't see in the U.S. If we just bank to the left, we'd be able to see more of it before it disappears. Here comes this crop duster / mosquito spraying device once again. This air tractor. It's like something you'd see in Mad Max. What is that draped over the front of the cockpit? Maybe it's just rust. Not so far. This and the Convair have to take the cake for my favorite planes of the day. The second time we've seen this plane taking off here. So again, we're only speculating, but our speculation is that it's spraying for mosquitoes, mosquito control. You know, Ronald Smith says, I vote for the crop duster or mosquito sprayer as the star of today's show. Why not? Very unusual, Ronald. Very unusual. But I guess that's what that's what you can see when you get away from the big metropolitan airports. And that Convair has been moved. I think it may be, yeah, it is now getting ready to take off. So we'll see more Convair action for you shortly. It's going to Miami. And that's all we can see there. Quite a contrast to the UPS MD-11 we more typically see at DFW. Indeed. Well, Well, here comes the Convair. If you missed it the first time, it's Convair CV 5800. This plane is 69 years old. I said 69 years old, 1956. I'm proud to say I'm 3 years older than this plane, but if that plane could talk. I mean, I wonder if it started out, I'm guessing it probably started out as a passenger aircraft, yeah. And Convair for Best Supporting Actor, says Ronald. And it says just 1 year older than my dad. So it's churning with the skyline of downtown Georgetown in the background. You get to hear this thing take off. Hopefully there won't be too much traffic impeding our listening. No, we don't see too many of those, a few trains at. And that's so old I don't even have a jingle for it. I think takes the vote for our snappiest takeoff of the day. Regrettably, unless it banks to the right here, we're not going to see too much more of it there. That was cool! I liked that a lot. There's Steve up there in North Dakota. I see that type of spray plane almost daily during the growing season here in North Dakota. Well, that is very cool for us to see, I gotta say. Steve, do you know exactly what type of plane that is? And Ronald says, no jingle for 1956. Let me see. If I have it, it would be in the files, and I don't have it hooked up to my. Let's see here. Let's see here. Okay, well let's give this a whirl.
1956.
I called that out of the archives. I don't have that on my soundboard, but let's hear that once again.
1956.
That sounds old, doesn't it? Well, here comes Cayman Airways 737 MAX 8. Wow, go from a 1956 plane to a 2021 plane. And here's that tail art, which is really quite spectacular on the Cayman Airways plane. It includes their slogan here. You see the first part of it there. It says, "He hath founded it." And then on the other side it says, "Upon the sea." So "He hath founded it upon the sea" is the official. It's not the airline slogan. That's the nation of Cayman Islands. Kind of their motto, I guess you would say. So this one's going to Miami. No, yes. And then an American Airlines flight to Miami, an Airbus A319, which came in here, I believe, from Miami earlier, is now lighting up on the radar. So we'll see that go out soon. It is a Max Super 8 Adrian. Okay, so Steve talking about that crop dusting or mosquito spraying plane, referring to it as a sky tractor. So yeah, that's what somebody else had said as well. So the Max 8 about to emerge from the shrubbery there, and we'll see that heading off to Miami. Pretty loud as it roars past here. And thank you for the call out, BW. And so good to see all of you this morning or the afternoon or wherever it is. Still morning here. We are in the we're in the same time zone currently. We're at the same clock time as the central time zone of the U.S., but Cayman Islands stays on Eastern Standard Time year-round. So we're in the Eastern Standard Time zone here in Cayman. We've got a couple of hangars here, including this. It's really kind of big one, which I believe it says Cayman Airways on it, doesn't it? Yeah. So I guess they use that to service their jet fleet and their propeller fleet. And I think we've finished with our, let's see here. Pretty sure we finished with our thank yous to all of our channel members. Forgot those were still hanging out there. So thanks again to all of our channel members. So we can see where that American Airlines plane is. Well, there's two. One that came in from Charlotte, which was in 737, and one that came in from Miami, which was an A319. Although both of them still have stairways going up, so I guess it'll be a little bit before we see either of those in motion. We're about to see an Air Canada, well, we're not going to see it, I don't think, but an Air Canada 767 Air Canada cargo, I should say, from Lima, Peru to Toronto. 767 is about to fly over us at 38,000 feet. I was going to say, I thought Air Canada had some sort of an industry is the terminology that's used in the UK. There's the flight attendants had threatened to strike, and then Air Canada was going to lock them out, and then the government said, well, you got to keep working, and I'm not sure what happened, if Air Canada is operating or not right now. Steve Lundaby's got to go. Steve, thanks so much for your membership. Thanks for stopping by here today, and we'll see you soon on Runway DFW. Beve, hello Beve. Air Canada flight attendants are on strike. Yeah, I knew they were going on strike, but I thought the government was trying to intervene, and I think the last I read was that it was whatever they were doing wasn't working, so. Okay, so I see O'Malley's back with us. Hello, O'Malley. Channel member and moderator. Texas girl wanting to know, I see some front ends of planes are lower than others. Why is that? Like UPS, their planes sit higher. Is that because of the size of the plane or the weight? Well, of course, wide-body jets typically sit higher than narrow bodies, but the 757s, which is a narrow body plane, was designed so that it would sit at the same height as the 767, its wide-bodied sister, and that was to make it more palatable to airport operators, so they wouldn't have to keep raising and lowering their sky bridges, which gives this 757 a very distinctive look because it's so high off the ground, relatively speaking, to other narrow-body jets. So that may be what you're thinking of. On the other hand, the 737, it's technically been a plane for longer than the 747. So it's more than a 50-year-old design, and it sits pretty low to the ground. And when they came up with these big new engines, they used to have these little cigar-like engines when the 737s first came into play, which was how the engines were designed at the time. And then it was determined that these big fan-like engines would be a lot better to propel the planes efficiently through the air. But some of them are so big, they've actually had to flatten out the bottom of the engines. If you look at a 737 like a MAX, you can see how it's not a round. It's round in the front, but the bottom of it is flattened because it is so low to the ground. They've got to give it some clearance. BW checking in, saying the tentative, and he's in Canada, so he should know. A tentative agreement was reached overnight between the flight attendants and the airline, which is good. But if they did stop service, there's probably going to be some time that is needed to ramp back up. You know, got to get airplanes in place. They've got to get them all checked out. They've got to get crews in the right position. So if you have an Air Canada ticket, you may still be hurting a little bit. And then the dispatcher notes that those 737 engines are also pushed forward on the wing and then flattened on the bottom because the engine is bigger. Thank you, Anna. So Beve says ground pay is being granted to the flight attendants. That's potentially huge. And I'm guessing that ground pay has something to do with, you know, the time that a crew has to spend on the ground, technically not doing work, but being someplace they wouldn't ordinarily be, like home. So good for them. I keep looking up at the sky to see these planes that are overflying us. Aeromexico Flight 655 from Santo Domingo is going to Mexico City on a MAX 8, somewhere up there at 38,000 feet. Can't see it. Got another interesting plane on the way in. IBC Airways is another cargo plane. There's a Saab 340B coming in from Miami. And that's a relative spring chicken, just 33 years old, from the year 1992. It's still about 37 minutes away. So if you can endure, I'd be happy to have you here with us on Runway DFW At Large in Grand Cayman. There's our satellite truck. So yeah, we'll be sure to wait for that. I don't know what else we've got coming in after that, but thank you so much for hanging out with me here. We once again we're on a patio overlooking Owen Roberts International Airport, and that is the patio we're on at the Glow Luxury Salon, Nails and Spa, and they're been very courteous to us to let us use their patio here, overlooking the airport. So Beve saying that Air Canada settlement is huge. The union is saying unpaid work is over. Very cool. Peter S. says, hello, Walton chat, checking out my lunch break, wishing you the best. Peter, thank you so much for being a member. I wish we had more action for you right now. We just don't. We've got cars, we've got a cruise ship. So we've had planes, boats, and trains. We have buses. There's a coach for a Texas girl to take a look at. Oh, it's a school bus. Okay. And as you can see here, if you're just joining us, driving is on the left. This is that British Heritage endures here. And Beve says, thank you, Glow. Yes. Patrick Wooter is one of our Quadjet channel members. Hello, Walt. Thank you for the tropical change of scenery. Have a great stay with Mrs. Runway DFW. We are having a blast. It's you know, I was telling her the other day while we were here, and she's wondering why I don't want to go out and do stuff. I just kind of wanted to sit on the beach and under. I don't like the shade. I don't like the sun, so I have very fair skin. So I'm just sitting there under a tree or under this little cabana they have. It's just so pleasant, just such nice relaxation. I'm pretty much on the go 7 days a week between my full-time job and super serving the Runway DFW audience with usually 3-day-a-week broadcasts. This week we've just cut it down to 1. So yeah, it's nice to have a little break. But we'll be back full-time Monday, and we're gonna, I think, switch out our days of our night streams, our after dark streams, and that is because let me get this shot lined up and locked in while I. That is because the Qantas A380 under the current schedule does not come in on Tuesdays and Thursdays when we normally bring you our After Dark broadcast. So we're going to shift starting next week. We're going to try to make it Monday and Wednesday nights. So I hope that fits in with everyone's schedule. We'll give it a try. That way we can't see the A380 come in because it comes in earlier in the day, but at least we can see it taking off, roaring off into the night. Well, look at this. Sean Bramlett, channel member, says Spirit Airlines is coming to Cayman soon for 3 times a week. Huh. Well, I'm sure they're not coming from Dallas. I imagine it's probably Florida somewhere. But that's interesting. Larry Brown says vacations should not be more work. Relax and do what's fun when you feel like it. Schedules are work. And Texas Girl says sitting on the beach is good and very relaxing and calming. And I do like to go in the water. The water here, the temperature, it's almost too warm. It's not quite that way, but you know, there's no transition involved in getting in the water. It feels like getting into a lukewarm bath, and the water is very, very calm. So it's just great for snorkeling and just kind of hanging around. I see some plane movement here. It's like a business jet of some sort. It is that Dassault Falcon 2000 we saw earlier. It is not presenting us with an itinerary, so we don't know where it's going. And we don't know where it came from either. At least Flight Radar 24 is not informing us. Flight Radar 24 not even giving us the N number of this plane, or the registration number. I shouldn't say N number because that's American. Well, in this case, it is an N number. and 112FJ. If you're wondering what equipment we're using today, I'm glad you asked. I don't know if anybody really cares, but we're using one of our Panasonic camcorders as our main camera today. This is not a camera we use at nighttime, but I didn't anticipate any nighttime activity here, as things quiet down pretty much after dusk. And then our backup camera, that one is just this is actually our first camera that we ever used on Runway DFW. It's another Panasonic camcorder, but it's just a little $230 when I bought it, camcorder with an incredible zoom lens, but you know, it's a step down from our primary camera, but it's good enough to do our backup shots on. So Sean says that Spirit route will launch from Fort Lauderdale 3 times a week, Thursday, Saturday, Sunday, beginning December 4th. And I should say that American will also have for the month of December, most of the month of December, into January, for the holiday rush, American will have, at least according to the schedule I saw, daily flights from DFW to Cayman. But only for those few weeks, maybe about a month. Then it's back to once a week. So BW says the registered owner of this aircraft is Bogey LLC in Gainesville, Florida. Thank you, BW. And here comes the crop duster again, or mosquito sprayer, the air tractor. And again, this does not appear on flight radar, so I had no idea it was coming. If I can get an air tractor to mow my pasture. And there goes the Dassault Falcon off to destination unknown. Yeah, we do, and I don't know if you were here for this, Texas girl, but Steve Lundaby was saying that sees a lot of those planes up there in North Dakota. Now we have another aircraft which has its propellers a-spinning. Hello to Bry Guy. And BW says engine manufacturer's allied sign and uses CFE 738 SER. I have no idea what most of that is or means, but thank you for that information, BW. Now, is this plane on the radar? It is not. BW says he's just reading us back some numbers. He didn't know what they mean either. Well, thank you for doing the research. Well, it's a little after 12. We should probably do another station identification. So alert the affiliates here on the Runway DFW YouTube network.
Broadcasting live around the world from Owen Roberts International Airport in the Cayman Islands. This is Runway DFW in colour.
So it's Runway DFW at Large in the Cayman Islands. Thank you to our announcer Warren for that introduction. And we'll be here, this will probably be our last hour of broadcasting. We do have one special plane to wait for. That plane that was in that shot earlier has escaped. Looks like we've got this on the radar now. Okay, interesting. This is a United States Air Force Dornier C-146 Wolfhound. It's a 30-year-old plane. So I wouldn't have guessed that's a U.S. Air Force plane based upon the paint job on the fuselage. But that is what we are told by Flight Radar 24. So once again, no information as to where this plane is going. But it's the second U.S. Air Force plane we've seen take off from here. "1993." I didn't mean, that was my, please disregard. It's humid here. I was trying to scroll through the pages of my iPad where we play back the jingles and such. And when I was trying to scroll through, my finger stuck to the little pad where that musical interlude would play back. So that's what happened there. I believe we've got the American Airlines A319 getting ready to pull out onto the runway to taxi to the other end where it will take off. This flight 1301 headed back to Miami from whence it came. This is a turn-of-the-century Airbus A319, 25 years old as of last month. Brent Baker, thank you so much. Verifying that VPCKF is used for Cayman Islands Mosquito Research and Control Unit. That is very helpful. That's kind of what we had postulated, but you came up with the answer. Thank you so much. Wendy says hello. Hello, Wendy. Good evening to you. And Houston, Texas says this plane looks good for being 30 years old. Oh no, that was the U.S. Air Force plane. This plane is only 25 years old. Once again, we're astride a very busy local road. Lots of trucks and cars. Haven't seen any chickens. Chickens are allowed to wander free here in the Cayman Islands. You'll see them in the supermarket parking lots. I think it was one of my first visits here. It was in downtown Georgetown. I got a picture of a chicken in front, walking around in front of a Kentucky Fried Chicken shop. Sean says the British Airways 777 arrives at 4:10 p.m. And again, just to alert you to the fact that we will not be here then. Our time is limited as far as what we have available for data to stream with. And as I mentioned before, once we get into the afternoon hours, here from this location, which is nice and shady right now, in the afternoon the sun is going to be beaming down in here, and we would I think we'd be dead. No, I don't think we'd be dead, but it would not be a pleasant experience. So we will not see the British Airways 777 come in. It is a sight to see, and we did see it. If you go back in our archives, you can see it on our first broadcast from here, which would have been last, I think, a year ago, April or so, something like that. This is our third Cayman Islands broadcast. Now just 6 minutes away is the IBC Airways Saab 340B. And that's a good looking plane. It's this one will be 33 years old. So we're just hanging out with you here at the beach. Well, not quite at the beach, but on a tropical isle. And once again, that's a Disney Cruise Lines ship in the harbor there behind the downtown Georgetown skyline. Patrick, I guess the chickens here are kind of like cows in India, I guess. Super 80 Adrian with a pictorial representation of what we're looking at there. Is this even possible? We're gonna have to rename this the Air Tractor Show, because it's like the Energizer Bunny. So mosquito control. And of course, it's important to control mosquitoes as they do spread disease. And my wife was saying she had read something earlier that this had been a particularly bad year for mosquitoes here. I don't know if they had extra rain or what. Here we go again, buzzing off. More of it, but it is not to be. Trying to see if we can get another glimpse of it as it banks, but not having much luck. Oh, here we go. We're getting ready to welcome the Saab 340B. And there it is. Coming in from Miami, IBC Airways, which I always thought was, I think of those letters and I think of root beer. Wendy says that ship we saw there looks to be the Disney Treasure, built in 2024. So it's a pretty new cruise ship. All right, Saab lovers, get ready. I guess Saab no longer makes commercial aircraft. I think they still do make some military planes, unless I'm mistaken. That flight from Miami coming in at 1 hour and 43 minutes. We'll be seeing it again here in a moment. Thank you, Scott. It is kind of a tropical change of pace. Sean Bramlett says that Disney cruise coming in from Galveston. Beve says IBC is a charter and cargo plane headquartered near Fort Lauderdale, Florida. Planes everywhere. Glad to see you're getting so much deserved time off. Enjoy. Thank you, Planes Everywhere, as we look at this Saab plane coming to us from the year
1992.
So I'm gonna have to check my schedule here to see what more we've got going on. We've got one more. Oh, where did that plane come from? I did not see that at all. Huh. Just for the record, that was a Cessna Turbo Skylane TC going out to an undisclosed location. So anyway, here's that Saab, and we've got American Flight 301, 737-800 going back to Charlotte, lining up. me see what our schedule is here. Incoming. Well, in about 15 minutes, we should see a WestJet coming in from Toronto. And around that same time, another American Airlines plane from Miami, another A319. Those will probably be our two final flights of the afternoon. Because things kind of cool down until late in the afternoon here, as far as commercial flights go. And, you know, I'm going to get back to vacationating. Yes, Sex Girl, we're going to wait for that. Thank you. Scott Donaldson saying good afternoon to our great mods. And to everyone everywhere. Altoona Gaming saying thank you. And we are happy to provide this service to you. Cut away just as this plane entered the frame. Well, here it is. Headed back to Charlotte. The same type of plane that brought us to Cayman earlier this week, or on Saturday, I guess I should say. This is a 12-year-old 737-800. It's about an 1,100-mile trip back to Charlotte. Takes about 2 hours and 20 minutes. Texas Girl with a $10 super chat. Thank you for thinking of the members by going live. Enjoy your vacation. Thank you, Texas Girl. We can see. But there's more action to come. We do have a Cayman Airways SMAX 8 It smacks of 8. It's flight 602. It's going to Kingston, Jamaica. And it is a 5-year-old MAX 8 there on the left side of your screen. Scheduled to leave at 12 o'clock noon, so it's running about 30 minutes behind schedule. Laura C. Laura C says this has been a nice treat. Thank you, Laura. Yeah, we'll be on the air for about another half hour. We're going to wait for a Canadian flight to get here. We're looking at WestJet flight 2032, 24 minutes away. That'll be a 737-800. And by the picture of it, it looks like it'll be operated by Sunwing with a white and orange kind of creamsicle livery. Supposed to be here about just before 1 p.m. So as long as our gear holds out, we'll be with you through then. The random spotter has entered the chat. Hello, Luke. Good to see you here. Been a hectic morning of meetings, so lurking on mute. Okay. I don't have a way to type back to you. So you know that I got your message, but, well, I put it on the screen. That should be enough. There, now Luke can see that I acknowledged his message. Let's check that. Check the weather again here. It'll appear in the upper left-hand corner of your screen. So still a very balmy 90 degrees, 32 degrees Celsius. Wind at 2 miles an hour, gusting to 3. Visibility 6 miles. No rain. I was hoping we'd see more of these little jets. Feels like 116 Fahrenheit, 46 degrees Celsius. Due, I suspicion, to the humidity. So here's our Cayman weather. You will excuse me for 1 second while I get another gulp of water. Notice that you probably do notice because it's silent a lot of the time. We don't have any air traffic control ATC going here. I'm not clear on the legality of it all, so I didn't want to take a chance getting arrested or anything. Plus it's some extra gear to hook up and bring, so no ATC here at Grand Cayman. I mean, they do have it. We're just not rebroadcasting it, is what I'm saying. Zoomed in on Sir Turtle, have we? There's Sir Turtle. That's the mascot of Cayman Airways. A turtle with a jaunty scarf. A peg-leg turtle, if I recall. Yeah, he's got a peg leg. Yeah, once again, this is a 5-year-old MAX 8. Off to Kingston. Uses up pretty much of that runway, doesn't it? Not a lot of room for error. And there's the call out, courtesy of BW, thank you. Texas Girl commenting on the tail design. Well, I think the design of the tail is based on the seal of the Cayman Islands. And yeah, it's got like that, what is it called, a griffin, I think, that you see in a lot of British designs. Griffin, the kind of dragon-like thing. Well, we are going to be hanging out with you for another few minutes here. The WestJet plane from Toronto, now just 10 minutes away. I think that might do it for us as far as this special at-large broadcast. There's supposed to be an American flight from Miami coming in right behind that WestJet, so I guess we'll hang out for that. I see no departures, however, that are imminent. So that's what life is like in a smaller international airport on a tropical island. See some interesting planes. But you kind of have to wait in between sometimes. Beve says, "Island time. I love it." Yeah, I'm looking for things to show you that we haven't shown you yet on this broadcast. Let's look over here across the way, right across the street from the airport. Just a few footsteps away is Foster's, and that is one of two supermarket chains here in, well, there's some more, but those are the Foster's and Kirk are the two big ones, and that's their airport adjacent store. But they have another one, well, they have several. The one we've been going to is in a place called Camana Bay, which is very upscale. I mean, it's a supermarket you wouldn't be surprised to find in, you know, the most upscale neighborhoods in the U.S. This one's a little more down market than that one, this one we're looking at here. But they've got pretty much everything you would want a supermarket to have. A lot of stuff from around the world. Take one last look at our Disney cruise ship there in the harbor. Can't see it all, but we can see the smokestacks. Do they still call them smokestacks? I guess they do. But it is being photobombed by downtown Georgetown. Super 80 Adrian talking about the tail of the Cayman Airways plane. The turtle represents the seafaring history and the original Spanish name of the islands, Tortugas. Thank you for that bit of history, Adrian. Our viewers chime in with all sorts of great information at all times. So let's do a traffic report, shall we? Looking straight on one of the streets here. Once again, driving is on the left. Beve says, the smokestacks are now just called funnels or stacks. I guess it's not PC to call them, to to infer that they emit smoke in much the way these giant dump trucks that are roaring past us bellow and belch the smoke. Carlos Garcia, good morning from Albuquerque. What a pleasant surprise to find this stream. I was watching Pilot Steve. His stream ended and this one popped up. Well, we're glad to have you with us. Carlos. And our moderator Kai is here. Hello, Kai. Let's see, we had one other. There was something that was going on, and I just saw it, and I think it had to do with this cargo unloading over here. I thought I saw those big claws in action a moment ago, but they move too quickly for me. Okay, our WestJet plane now 4 minutes away. And there's Kai saying hello. Hello, Kai. Thank you for being a member of the channel. The giant truck has just parked right in front of us. There it is. Progressive Distributors. I don't at all sense any pollution whatsoever. All right, WestJet. Here comes the WestJet, about to go behind the building support there. Well, I'm afraid because of that truck, we're not going to hear too much of the aircraft sound as it lands. But here it comes, WestJet Flight 2032 from Toronto. Operated by Sunwing. And American Flight 956 from Miami, an Airbus A319, which I think will be our last plane of the day, is about 5 minutes behind that. So, stand by. That's a loud truck. It's a refrigerated truck. The door is open. I should be feeling some cold air by now. It's probably about time for that air tractor to come back for an encore appearance. So yes, this is Sunwing. I don't know if it's a subsidiary of WestJet or if it's a separate company which WestJet has engaged to provide this service. Okay, BW says WestJet just took over Sunwing's fleet. Okay. So Sunwing is defunct or otherwise has gotten rid of some planes, I guess. So an 11-year-old 737-800. Thank you, BW, for the call out. Something we may never see at DFW Airport. And we're now getting ready to see this American plane. Well, not quite yet. We've still got some more Sunwing following to do here. Looks like we've gone almost 3 hours without exhausting our battery supply. It's one thing I'm always concerned about. You can't take these gigantic batteries that I use for our regular broadcasts on a plane. They just don't let you do it. They're pretty heavy too. So we have to rely on these kind of pocket-sized batteries to get us through, and so far everything seems to be holding up a-okay, although the one that's powering our main transmission device has been exhausted, so we're operating on internal batteries for that now. But I think we're okay for the next couple minutes. So American Flight 956 will be our swan song. It's going to be here just a minute or two. Airbus A319, 10-year-old plane. It's going to be coming in from that direction. Michael Flannery with a big thank you to BW for all the information, including this. WestJet has officially completed the integration of Sunwing, bringing all jet aircraft under one operation certificate, finalized on May 29th. Thank you, BW. What would we do without our audience? They make me sound like I know everything. right, we got a final approach. I do actually see a glint of this plane here. There it is. A319 from Miami. The final plane, unless we get a surprise appearance by the by the air tractor again. The final appearance of an aircraft on this special at-large edition of Runway DFW. Texas Girl likes these sunwing colors. Well, you don't see orange too much on aircraft. Who else has an orange livery? I don't want to go have a creamsicle after I see that livery there. All right, we await the arrival of American 956. Delivery truck now moving out of the way. Ah, my ears have begun to recover. Thanks again, BW. And so with that, we're going to bid you adieu here at Runway DFW. Thank you to all of our members who make content like this possible. I know we don't specially do things for our members very often, so I hope you consider this a treat of some sort. And thank you so much for all your support you give to us throughout the year. I apologize for our lower level of content this week, but we'll be back next week with more stuff. And again, our next regular broadcast, I believe, is going to be on Monday, which is, I don't know what date that is, but on Monday, we're going to try Monday and Wednesday for our After Dark broadcast, because those are the days that we can see the A380 Qantas jet taking off back to Sydney. Special thanks once again to our friends here at the Glow Luxury Salon. There's no trade out made here. I'm not getting a mani-pedi or anything, or no money has changed hands, but they've been very nice to us to let us camp out on their patio here, so thanks to them very much. And we will see you, unless something else intervenes in between, next Monday here on Runway DFW. Or if you're watching this on the replay, when we rebroadcast it to our full audience next week, ignore what I just said. Just look at look at Runway DFW and see when our next stream is. Okay, thanks again for watching. I should have some music here, shouldn't I? I should have music. Where's the music? This is so unprofessional of me. Here we go. Bye for now from Runway DFW. We'll see you soon. Happy contrails to you. Until we meet again. Yes, and thanks to all our mods. I didn't mean to leave you out. And a special thanks to Mrs. Runway DFW for gifting me to you for a few hours on this vacation.
And promotional consideration furnished by Pan American World Airways, the world's most experienced airline. Pan Am makes the going great. This is Dick Tufeld speaking.
This is Warren Barnett speaking for Runway DFW, a Runway DFW production, all rights reserved.